Thank you for joining us. We'll wait until a few more trickle in here. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Melanie, I'm going to kick it over to you.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our second episode of Raleigh Regional Association of Realtors New Community Update Series, Keeping Up with Wake Forest. My name is Melanie Osborne, and I serve as the local political coordinator for Wake Forest.
And my name is Scotty Hunley. I serve as the Raleigh Regional's Chamber liaison for Wake Forest. We're excited to highlight this growing community that I call home. It has been carefully maintained its small town charm and unique identity as it welcomes new residents. Today, we're going to hear about what's driving new residents to this town and what makes Wake Forest so special.
All right, throughout our program today, please use our question and answer feature for any questions you may have. We will address them at the end of our session today. This morning, we are so excited to hear from several guests who are going to help us keep up with Wake Forest. We'd like to take a moment to introduce them and get to know some of them now. First, please help us welcome Mayor Vivian Jones. Mayor Jones is from North Carolina. She has been a native, and we're proud to call Wake Forest home for the last 40 years. She has served 2 years as a Wake Forest Town Commissioner and was then elected mayor, where she has served since 2001 and is the longest serving mayor in town history. She has served on several boards and committees during her time in office, including the NC League of Municipalities Board of Directors, NC Municipal Power Agency, Electric Cities of NC, and she currently serves as the Go Triangle Board of Trustees.
Our next guest is Town Commissioner Liz Simpers. Liz works for the Wake Forest Area Chamber and was elected the Town Commissioner in 2017. She also has lived in Wake Forest for about 7 years, but she's not from North Carolina. She moved down from Pennsylvania to attend NC State, so go Wolfpack, in 1994. She'll be the first to tell you that Wake Forest is the best place in the world to work, raise a family, and own a home. We're also joined by several Wake Forest staff members today, and they'll introduce themselves as they're doing their presentation and tell us more about their role in the town and throughout the webinar this morning. Thank you, Mayor Jones, Commissioner Simpers, and the staff for joining us. We can't wait to hear about what's happening in Wake Forest. So take it away, Vivian.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting us to be with you today. We appreciate the opportunity to share with you what's happening in Wake Forest. With me is Liz Simpers, the commissioner, as you mentioned, and she is also our mayor pro tem. Allison Snyder, who is assistant town manager, and she has oversight with the public works and engineering and planning area of the town. And then Lisa Hayes, who is our strategic performance manager. JJ Carr is our Jonathan Jacobs, our transportation engineer, and who else? Debbie Dunn, who is the director of our Renaissance Center. Like everyone else, Wake Forest is trying to come out of the pandemic enforced by the shutdowns enforced by the pandemic. We're excited because we are coming out of that, and actually we're going to have a Friday night on White in September. So everybody's excited about that. We came out of it much better than a lot of communities and I believe that's for several different reasons. Number one, of course, we're located in a region that continues to experience growth, and the popularity of the Triangle with many people creates that rising tide. The rising tide raises all ships effect. But Wake Forest is a beautiful community that still has small town charm. And I was talking to a woman yesterday who moved here a few years ago, and she said she looked at almost all the towns in Wake County, and when she came to Wake Forest, she said, "This is where I want to be." And I think that a lot of people do that. So we're very proud of that. We have a knowledgeable staff, very knowledgeable staff. And we had already implemented a number of technology improvements prior to the pandemic, which put us in a better position than some when people started Zooming and meeting online and everything, we were already into that, able to do that without a lot of struggles. And we are in a very good fiscal position. We're able to weather the storm with very little impact on our services, not because of the money so much, but because we have a great staff who worked really hard during the pandemic to keep things going. But we are ready to sell the remaining bonds of our bond issue from 2014. And so we went to the rating agencies for an update, and we were actually raised by Moody's to a AAA rating this time. So now we're rated AAA with all three of the rating agencies. And I think that getting an upgrade to AAA during the middle of a pandemic is a pretty awesome thing, and it shows our fiscal position. So I'll quit bragging and I'll let the other folks that are with me tell about what they're doing and what's going on in Wake Forest. So I don't know, Allison, are you the one who's going to start? Okay.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Mary, for that introduction. We have a presentation to show you guys this morning as we talk through kind of what's going on in Wake Forest, mainly so you have some pictures to associate with our words. There's always there we go. So I'm first going to give an introduction of kind of my group to add on to what the mayor said. We recently had a reorganization within the town. Because we were growing so fast, we kind of put everyone in two buckets of teams, one being quality of life and one development services. I'm currently assigned to development services, but Kip, Candace, and we work closely to make sure we're a team overall. And I wanted to encourage everyone on the call, if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. I think the main draw of Wake Forest is we're still small enough that if we get feedback on things we need to do differently, you can talk to the right person to make it happen. But we're also big enough that we have resources to implement those changes. So as you guys have feedback or ideas that you'd like to see in Wake Forest, please let us know. So you have the topics in front of you of what we're going to go through today. And I'm first going to talk a little bit about the community plan before handing it off to Lisa Hayes to talk about economic development. We're really excited about updating our community plan. The current community plan we have was adopted in 2009. At that time, our population was less than 20,000 people. We're currently sitting around 50,000, so the population has changed quite a bit. We're asking our community and residents to vision what our community will look like in 2040. And we anticipate, as Lisa will show you a graph later on, in 2040, our population could be as high as 75 or 80,000 people. So that's quite a task we're asking our residents. And they've really stepped up to the challenge. We've kind of broken out the community plan into 7 different tasks, and we just wrapped up task 2, which was community engagement and outreach. In April, we had 3 different visioning workshops, and on average, 150 to 200 people signed up for each workshop, which was incredible. In each workshop, they gave us feedback and talked through what they'd like to see and also what they don't like to see. We'll use that to develop the plan overall, and we expect the process to be done in this winter. I also put a link here at the bottom of this slide. We are using a platform called Map Social, where you can log in and use different markers to say what you like, don't like, highlight features that you use often. And you can do that at any time. You don't need to sign up for a visioning workshop. So if you haven't yet participated in our plan, please go to this link at the bottom and fill that out for us. We'd love to hear feedback, even if you're just working in the area and not living in the area. Lastly, before turning it over to Lisa, because we're talking to the realtors group, I thought kind of laying out what came out of the existing conditions study as part of the community plan would be helpful. It's identified the eastern area of town kind of ripe for growth. So stay tuned in the coming years and in the final plan to see what that looks like. But I thought that may be of interest to this group. And with that, I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Good morning, and thank you again for having us here. I'm going to talk to you today about some of the economic development growth that's occurring in Wake Forest. And I have lived here for 27 years and worked in this community for the same amount of time. Just my personal plug, there is no place else that I would rather be than Wake Forest. I just love it here. We have got some really great things happening. I'll talk to you a little bit about statistics and then some of the bigger picture projects that we have going on in the area. We are the 10th fastest growing municipality out of 552 municipalities in North Carolina. As either the mayor Allison had mentioned, we have over 50,000 residents now, and our average median income is $92,000. We just have a great quality of life here in Wake Forest for our residents, very close proximity to the major universities, major medical facilities, great schools, close to transportation, the airport, rail. We also have over 1,000 acres of community park and open space. Our residents love being outdoors. They love all the programming that we have. We have over 65 miles of local greenways, a ton of recreational activities, cultural activities. Debbie Dunn's going to share some of that information for you, but there's always something to do here in Wake Forest. I'm going to then morph into a little bit about some development that's happening in our downtown area. Our downtown area is the core of our community. And so we're seeing growth throughout the community, but particularly in our downtown area. We attracted our first mixed use project with a project called Powerhouse Row. We are seeing an influx of residents into our downtown. And with that comes, of course, the demand for new shops, new businesses. We already have a great diverse mix of businesses in our downtown area. If you have not been here, I highly encourage you to come down. We have award-winning restaurants, award-winning coffee roasters, just phenomenal award-winning breweries, a lot of them with international awards. So really it is a great place to come down and spend some time. But Powerhouse Row is at a key corner in our downtown area, a recently completed mixed-use project. It's a 3-story brick building and added 18 apartments and 9,800 square feet of retail on the bottom floor. Those apartments have already filled up. We got a tour of those absolutely gorgeous apartments. So we're very proud of that particular location, and again, bringing 18 new families into the town. On that same note is Retreat at Renaissance. This was an undeveloped parcel of property that was purchased by Stanley Martin Homes. They developed 85 townhomes right in the heart of downtown, beautiful townhomes. A lot of them have patio rooftops. You can walk to everything. Those townhomes, that project is completed, and those townhomes sold faster than they could build them. That's completely built out right now. Adjacent to that is our loading dock project. Loading dock is was a co-working business in Raleigh, and they elected to add a site here in Wake Forest. And we're so excited about this project and how it's going to transform our downtown. This is located adjacent to the Retreats at Renaissance townhome project I just talked about. This is a former warehouse facility that's being repurposed into co-working and entrepreneurial space. Should be done, we're hoping, late summer, but we expect this project to attract over 100 companies to lease out space in here, and over 436 jobs, 144 of those being new, completely new jobs. One of the really great things about this is it will have indoor and outdoor space. It will be open to the community. It's not just for the folks who are leasing space. There'll be outdoor community space that will be a portion of this. And directly across from this, and I don't have a photo of that, is another warehouse. It's 535 South White Street. There's a green space in between this loading dock project and 535. 535 has been purchased, and that will be another mixed use project. They're planning restaurants and retail space, maybe some office space in there. There's a large green space in between that we're envisioning that really, on a daily basis, there'll be some type of activity there, park space for citizens to use. So we're very, very excited about that project and what that's going to bring to downtown Wake Forest. Another parcel that we're working on, and again, these are all in the heart of our downtown district. For those of you that are familiar with Wake Forest, there is an old SunTrust building. SunTrust closed their location in downtown Wake Forest. This parcel is at a key intersection connecting the north and south areas of downtown. The town purchased this parcel because we really wanted to see mixed use development on there. We wanted to have control over what was going to be built there, because once it's built, it's staying. So we wanted that to be something that was really going to connect our core and offer something to our citizens. That project is being worked on between the town and Development Finance Initiative out of UNC School of Government. We had just completed market analysis on this, and we're getting ready to possibly take it out to the development community when COVID hit. So that project got put on hold, but it is now back on the front burner. We're revisiting the market analysis, trying to get those numbers back together, and really hope to take that out to the development community sometime this fall or winter. We've got developers interested in that already. We're envisioning probably a 3 to 4 story brick building. We'll have some event space in there, office space, retail all along the 2 corridors to help create that pedestrian feel. This will also, we're hoping, would have a public parking aspect to it. So we're very excited about that and hope to bring you some more information soon. Another development, not necessarily located in downtown, but near the heart of downtown and closer to Capitol Boulevard, is our Live, Work, Play Tech Park that we're looking at. This park is still in the master planning stages, but it's over 200 acres of living facilities, working facilities, businesses. We're anticipating 180,000 square feet of office space, 372,000 square feet of retail, and let me see, 720 residential units. So very excited about that, again, in the master planning stage, but those are some of the great things to come. And again, you know, just a plug for the downtown area in Wake Forest as a whole. As I said, I've lived here for 27 years. We have got all the amenities that you will find in a large city, but we still have got that small town charm. When you come here, people say hello. It's very welcoming, very warm. It's just, there's something so unique about the community of Wake Forest. Debbie, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I am Debbie Dunn. I am the manager for the Renaissance Center, and the Renaissance Center is where our community gathers to celebrate the arts. We are located in the heart of downtown Wake Forest, and as Lisa said, we are within walking distance of those award-winning restaurants and breweries, and you can even visit a wine bar rooftop and enjoy the city from there. And then after that, come over to the Renaissance Center for some entertainment. Quality of life. We hear that phrase quite a bit. And exactly why is that so important? Well, after your clients unpack their boxes and put everything away, the next thing on their mind is, what's there to do for us in this town? And we want to let you know that we have entertainment right at your doorstep. You don't have to drive to downtown Raleigh or Durham. While there's some great things there, we have some great things right here in Wake Forest too. We live hectic lives. It's important for us to gather with our friends and our families and to create these memories. And that's what we do. We allow that to happen here at the Renaissance Center. We are also a rental space. We have everything from award ceremonies, birthday parties. We even have weddings. So the flexible space can configure kind of to whatever your needs may be. So now I want to talk to you about some of those quality of life opportunities that are here for you. We have a very rich cultural arts class offerings for you. And here you see is a children's show, and that's a pajama party that the kids had, and they came, and that was very engaging. But our classes that we offer, this is our musical theater class down in the bottom right. That's really growing. We serve young folks from kindergarten through college age with music, theater, dancing, singing, acting, all of that rolled into one. We have drawing classes, painting, macrame, all the fine arts and crafts that you can that you would like to participate in. Our seniors enjoy drumming, line dancing, tap, which you might hear, and it's going to be across the hall from me in a few minutes. So if you hear a little tippy tappy, it's our class going on over there. Lots of things. Visit our website, wakeforestrensin.org, to learn more about these classes, because I'm sure there's something that you would like to take to enrich your life. So now let's talk about some of those performances. Dancing is fun. It's great exercise. So we offer a couple of times a year Rocking the Forest. Right here in the middle is a photo of our Motown group coming up September 24th. And I promise you, every person in there by the end of the night will be on their feet, participating in the Love Train and dancing to some great Motown songs. Also coming up in November, we have the Band of Oz. So you want to keep that on your minds. Laughter is truly the best medicine for us. It increases your endorphins, your oxygen intake. I mean, you know, it's practically better than going to the doctor and getting your vaccination shot, practically. But we have The Odd Couple. That's our Forest Moon Community Theaters, bringing that to us in October. And very, very popular at the end of October, our Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Lights, Camera, Murder. You and your fellow table mates get to kind of help solve the murder mystery. Christmas is a huge time in Wake Forest, and we celebrate every single weekend here at the Renaissance Center. The first weekend in December is our Artisans Market. Great, great time to grab those special, unique presents for the people in your lives. You get there's jewelry, there's art, there's crafts, wonderful, wonderful display of art here in the Renaissance Center. The second weekend, we're going to have the Celtic Angels. That is so popular. We'll have 3 shows of that. And they bring their full band, Celtic dance, and then of course the Angels will delight you with some great Christmas music. Every July, the Malpas brothers come to visit us here in the Renaissance Center, and we sell more tickets than we really have seats for. Not really, but don't tell the fire marshal. So last year during the pandemic, we wanted to do something special because we could not gather in person. So we brought their entire family here and presented an online performance of that. They're coming back in person. All the children, the new baby, everybody's going to be on stage. And that's going to be December the 18th, the third weekend. We have a lot of opportunities for you to gather with us to improve your quality of life and to celebrate the arts. Please visit our website, wakeforestrensin.org, and come celebrate with us at the Renaissance Center.
Good morning. I'm J.J. Carr. I'm the Inspections and Facilities Director. I hate going behind Debbie because Debbie Dunn's a hard act to follow, but I'll do my best. I've been employed with the town of Wake Forest since 1996. In my 25-year tenure with the town, I've seen a population growth from 8,000 in 1996 to currently over 50,000. In 1996, the inspection department issued 279 single-family dwellings. And to date, as far as this year goes, we have already issued 450. So things have changed a lot. Currently, there's a big push of development along Dr. Calvin Jones Highway 98 corridor. This includes a mix of residential and commercial projects. I will be giving you a brief overview of 3 of these projects, which are Legacy at Heritage Apartments, Holding Village, and Grove 98. With the addition of Wegmans to our community comes a large, multifaceted development that has quite a few working pieces. With the Wegmans store itself came the Ligon Mill extension, which connects South Main and Dr. Calvin Jones Highway. Also, a J.P. Morgan Bank is planned at the corner of Ligon Mill and Dr. Calvin Jones Road. Other pieces of Wegmans include 2 other developments, Grove 98 Southeast and Grove 98 North. Grove 98 Southeast is proposed to be a mixed use of a couple of commercial sites, as well as 45 townhomes and 228 multifamily dwelling condo units. Grove 98 North has a master plan proposing several commercial lots, 232 multifamily dwelling units, and 122 condo units. Legacy at Heritage. This consists of 306 multifamily dwelling units. As part of this, one single building will house 136 residential units. This will be the largest residential building in the town of Wake Forest to date. And this building is being constructed using a tunnel form construction. Tunnel form construction is a formwork system that allows the contractor to cast walls and slabs with concrete in one operation in a daily cycle. According to the developers, this is the first time tunnel form construction has been used in North Carolina. Holding Village. Holding Village, which extends from Dr. Calvin Jones almost all the way to Rogers Road, will contain a total of 1,350 residential units. This includes a good mix of single-family dwellings, townhomes, as well as a 320-unit multifamily dwelling. There is an internal commercial lot just south of the multifamily dwelling development, and two commercial lots are planned along 98. Between Legacy at Heritage and Holding Village development, there are several infrastructure upgrades. Two of these being the extension of Franklin Street that will connect Dr. Calvin Jones and Rogers Road. And Friendship Chapel will continue to Heritage Lake and South Main Street. So as you go along Dr. Calvin Jones Road, you will notice a lot of construction going on. And I'll turn it over to Jonathan.
All right, good morning. My name is Jonathan Jacobs. I'm the transportation engineer for the town of Wake Forest in our public works department. Today, I'm going to talk about Ligon Mill Road, kind of in depth. JJ kind of mentioned a little bit of Ligon Mill Road with the Grove 98 site, and then South Franklin Street were just some critical connection points that the town needs to connect the bypass to Main Street and Rogers Road. So going on to Ligon Mill Road, the town is currently doing the Ligon Mill Road operational improvements. This project is located between South Main Street and the Eastern Walmart driveway. So I've got three photos here for you. The photo on the left is what this section of Ligon Mill Road looked like before. It was very narrow. There was no striping, very limited sidewalk pedestrian connectivity. So this picture is bad because it shows sidewalk, but to the north and the south of this photo, there is no existing sidewalk infrastructure. So the middle photo and the photo on the right are kind of current conditions where we're widening this road from 2 lanes to 4 lanes with the median and turn lanes. And there'll be continuous sidewalks on both sides of the street and wide shoulders to allow for shared bike facilities with the roadway. This project is estimated to be completed towards the end of this year with substantial completion probably in early fall, but there's some cleanup items that typically occur, and that should be by the end of 2021. This project will increase the capacity and level of service at the South Main Street and Ligon Mill Road intersection, which is a very busy intersection today. And then it kind of sets up for the future. So also, if you'll go to the next one, we'll talk about kind of the future of Ligon Mill Road. So JJ talked about the Grove 98 development. So this is Ligon Mill Road extension looking from Dr. Calvin Jones Highway 98. New future 4-lane median divided road that we opened to the public last Tuesday, a week ago. And that will continue. The long range plan for Ligon Mill Road is to have this type of infrastructure all the way to South Main Street. So Wegmans was required to widen, and I don't have photos of this, but they were required by our plans and ordinances to widen existing Ligon Mill Road in front of the Reynolds Mill subdivision, as well as provide this extension to the bypass, which also included sidewalk and a 10-foot multi-use path on the eastern side, which is the left side of this photo. You can't really see it from the photo, but there is a 10-foot multi-use path along that side. And then a new traffic signal for the new Forbes Grove Road, or Forbes Grove Way that goes behind Wegmans, and then a future 3 traffic signals on the bypass. And before everybody freaks out about the new traffic signals along the bypass, so Ligon Mill Road's a pretty major, or will be a pretty major street. And so when we were doing the planning for this site, we did not want it to be a South Main Street South Main Street Dr. Calvin Jones Highway, or Traditions Grand and Jones Dairy and Calvin Jones, where it's a super large multi-phase extended delay signal. So that's why you see infrastructure for 3 signals. We have 2 in operation now, but the Ligon Mill Road and Dr. Calvin Jones Highway intersection is limited movement. So you won't be able to make left turns off of Ligon Mill, which is why Forbes Grove Way and a future road on the north side are constructed to allow those left turn movements to be performed, but it reduces the amount of delay on 98 to promote through traffic. So you may see 3 traffic signals, or 2 today with the potential, or a future 3rd signal, but the delay on those signals is greatly reduced for it to not be a full 10-phase traffic signal. So then I'm going to briefly talk about some of our maps and plans that the town has, and these are based on a lot of the questions I get from realtors and the development community. So the first plan is the comprehensive transportation plan, which is a live interactive plan that can be viewed from our website. If you go to the Town of Wake Forest website, there's a big search box in the middle of the web page, and you can just type in comprehensive, and it's typically the first one that comes up. And it was adopted in 2019. And this is a 2030 look ahead plan. It's a very long range plan, doesn't have any, it's not fiscally constrained, and there's no commitment to funds. So this is kind of our vision of what we think the town will look like in 2030. But it allows us, especially when we're working with developments like Grove 98 or Holding Village, to know what kind of infrastructure is needed, and it allows us to, based on general statute and our UDO, to allow the developer or require the developer to construct a lot of that infrastructure. So like the infrastructure that JJ talked about with South Franklin Street and the Ligon Mill Road extension, the town does not pay for any of that. The developer is. We do also look at private-public partnerships where a development may be close by, where the town can provide funding to expedite a project. The other plan that I want to recommend that everybody looks at, or you can promote to your clients, is our active development map. A big concern, especially in a growing community like Wake Forest, is, hey, what's coming behind me? I've got woods behind me. Is that always going to be woods? Or people assume that just because it's woods today, that it'll be woods forever. And so our active development map and that community plan update that Allison talked about in the beginning kind of provides a background and maybe an expectation of what's going to be in that location or what could be planned. But our active development map's interactive. It's on our website. You can also go and search active developments, and it'll show you everything that's planned, under review, or under construction in town. And it'll tell you, it'll even pull up a site plan so you can see what it is and provide more information. And then our third plan that I want to tell you about is our Powellville map. So probably the 3rd biggest question I get from realtors and the development community is, who maintains my street? And you can go to the engineering page on the town website, and there's a map that's updated annually. Starting in 2021, we're going to update this multiple times per year as we accept streets. And I hope to make it more of a storyboard map like the transportation plan and active development map, so it's more interactive versus just a PDF. But this map tells you if a street's private, if it's under warranty, to be accepted by the town, if it's been accepted by the town, maintained by NCDOT, or is a private street. And that kind of provides a background of maybe the future of your street, or what the current status is. So I do want to copy a statement that the Fuquay director of engineering said. He said he has 35 transportation engineers. We have over 50,000 in Wake Forest, and I could have spent this entire time talking about traffic. So just wanted to focus on one critical corridor in town.
All right, so that concludes our presentation, and we're ready for any questions. I tried to share the maps while Jonathan was talking, but it's having some technology issues. So I'll put the links in the chat like you asked, and otherwise we'll turn it back to you all for questions.
Great. Thank you, everyone. That was fantastic. So Commissioner Simpers has been answering some of the questions for us. Unfortunately, she has lost her voice, so you all could not hear from her this morning, but we are happy that she has joined us and has been answering those questions for us. Allison is sending us some links that Jonathan will go along with what he mentioned during the presentation, and we'll be sure to include all of the links that the staff have provided us in our post-webinar email to you all. So you'll get the links to the town website and the maps and things like that that were mentioned here today. And then you'll also get the link to the video of the entire presentation from this morning. So I will go ahead and kick us off with our questions. And the first one is pretty easy. So we'll just go in the order that you all presented in. We'll start with Mayor Jones. And then you all can give your own answers if you wish. Name your top reason for moving to Wake Forest. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I moved to Wake Forest back when we only had 5,000 people living here. So I came here because my husband at the time wanted to attend the Southeastern Baptist Seminary. So that's why I moved here. But I continue to live here because I love this town. I love the people here. It is a fantastic community. It's a very caring and loving community. And it's just a great place to live.
And I think Commissioner Simpers is going to answer in the chat, but if staff wants to give their answers, Allison.
Sure. So I'd say kind of my answer would mirror the mayor's, but one thing I really appreciate about Wake Forest is the residents give thoughtful feedback, both positive and kind of constructive criticism. But it's always coming from a place where they've thought about it, they've talked to their neighbors. It's just a kind of community approach to growing and change. And I don't think you get that a lot of places. It could be kind of a very individualistic view, and it's just coming from, you know, their own mind. But here I've noticed they've had a community conversation before they're coming to the town and asking something, which I think is why our vision and our plan for growth is so strong, because we go back to the residents so often and ask them for their feedback.
And I just kind of have to echo what Allison and Mayor Jones shared. I moved here in '94. My husband at the time came here for a job. We came from Pennsylvania. All of my family stayed in Pennsylvania. When we first moved here, we lived in Raleigh. And not really having any family here, I didn't feel part of a community. I had grown up in the city in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but you had smaller kind of areas that just had that community feel, and I didn't have that in the greater Raleigh area. So we moved to Wake Forest. Community is very important to me, and we probably have over 30 plus civic organizations in town. I just needed that community feel with no family here. And so moving to Wake Forest, I found that. I have lived here ever since. I'm very involved in the local community. It's important to me to make a difference. And I feel like that we're small enough that you can volunteer, you can get involved, you can meet people quickly. That was important to me. And as I stayed here and started working with the town, that just became more important, that our community is engaged, that we know our citizens. There's just something very unique in that you don't find in a lot of other places.
And Commissioner Simpers dropped in the chat. It sounds like we all have folks moving to Wake Forest for one reason or another. But prior to joining the chamber, she actually worked for the YMCA. So she moved from Cary for her job with the YMCA. But I think she's probably one of the the loudest voices in support of Wake Forest and its small town charm. So we do have one question coming through the chat here. What will be done in the wake of transforming the 98 bypass into a heavily intersected high traffic road? Is there a plan for another bypass? So probably Jonathan or JJ, I would say, would answer that.
So the kind of the running joke between the citizens is, why do we call it a bypass anymore? It is still very much a bypass. So 98 business goes through downtown. You got to go through the seminary. So it very much still bypasses town. But when NCDOT planned and studied NC 98 bypass, it was always intended to be as it is being developed today. It's very similar to NC 55 in Holly Springs. There's lots of development along the corridor, but we implement different types of intersections such as super streets, reduced conflict intersections, things like that, to minimize the delay. And the town is hoping to do some further studies to better the South Main Street and 98 intersection, and potentially Jones Dairy and Traditions Grand, some of our kind of larger intersections along the bypass. But NCDOT did perform a corridor study along 98 from Durham all the way to eastern Wake County into Franklin County. So that's under development now. So that could potentially include widening the bypass, things like that. But there are no plans to build another bypass around Wake Forest.
Just an interesting thing, when I moved here 40 years ago, they were talking about building the bypass. and at the time, it would have been a bypass because it was outside of town. But by the time we got it built, it really was more an artery through town, not a bypass.
Well, I'll also say our old planning director that retired in 2019, he told me that the bypass was actually originally planned to be 2 lanes. So
yes, that's right.
We're lucky to have the 4 lanes that we have. But I'll make another point, and then I'll wrap this up because I could talk about it all day. But if you build infrastructure, people are drawn to develop there because you're providing access to new properties. So if we were to build another bypass in 10 to 20 years, we'd be in the same situation that we are now. And the same kind of thing is occurring in Roseville where 401 was built.
Great. So as Wake Forest and the surrounding areas see increased rates of growth, how are you all collaborating to address the strain this growth might place on transportation, education, and other public services? So this is not necessarily a collaboration just between you all and your roles with the town, but maybe some outside organizations, other entities, things like that.
Well, we're working, being on the Go Triangle board. Of course, I'm very involved in transit throughout Wake County, and we do have a bus here in Wake Forest, and that's been very successful here. We're working with NCDOT on the S line and hope that we can get some commuter rail going. And so we're certainly trying to address traffic in multimodal ways, not just building more lanes does not help the traffic situation because people just keep coming and using them. So we're trying to address it in different ways.
I'd also say we do work with the schools, and we're trying to think of ways we could work with them even more. Currently, we send them our development plans that have been approved with the number of houses and the number of units, and coordinate with them to see when and where we need to start thinking of building an additional school. That's been working well, but through the community plan process, our community has asked for even more. So we're brainstorming with them what that even more could look like. I also wanted to mention in the Q&A, there was a question about what's the limit of growth, right? And so I wanted to mention we've recently updated our annexation agreements with Raleigh, Youngsville, and Rollsville. And what that ends up looking like is if a developer comes in and says, I'd like to put a commercial property here, it would dictate whether they be in the county, in the town of Wake Forest, in the city of Raleigh, or the town of Youngsville. It kind of lays out those parameters. So there is a limit to our growth, and we work collaboratively with our neighbors to make sure that we're all communicating as to what that will look like, both from the infrastructure needs as well as the residential needs.
And I'll mention our planning staff, our long-range planning staff is very active in the CAMPO, which is our regional metropolitan planning organization. So they were a part of, I think Wake County and Franklin County are in the same MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization area. So they meet monthly. There are several subcommittees as a part of that, and that's kind of how the regional transportation plans are made. And our plan, the development of our comprehensive transportation plan kind of mirrors some of the area of the larger regional plans, and but it's in more detail because it's more for Wake Forest only. But we make sure that they match, and there's lots of communication from other municipalities within the organization. And then like Capitol Boulevard specifically has its own council of planning, and that includes members from everybody between Raleigh and Henderson. So that includes, there's people that join from Raleigh, Wake Forest, Youngsville, Franklin County, Henderson, all those, and they make recommendations on projects that are along that corridor, regardless of the locality that they're in, because it's for the betterment of the entire corridor.
Great. So this question probably is pretty self-explanatory given what Jonathan has talked about with the infrastructure and roads coming through, but what areas of Wake Forest do you all expect to see a higher level of growth and development over the next year?
So Allison kind of touched on this a little bit when she went over the community plan, but the eastern part of town is where we're seeing a lot of our larger developments. We have a subdivision called Rosedale off Everett Road that's recently been approved. It's, I think, 900 to 1,000 units total. And then north on North Main Street, Kinsley was recently approved. It was 700 or 800 units, I think, at the end. So north and east, kind of that northwest, we've got a lot of active development going towards Franklin County. Wake Forest actually has some jurisdiction through those agreements that Allison described in Franklin County. So we're seeing some development there as well.
And this will probably be about our last question. I've not seen anything else come through the Q&A. So softball question, and if you all would like to give your own answer, that would be great. But how do you maintain the charm of Wake Forest that we've heard so much about today, that's made your area attractive to residents for years, while also balancing the need to provide opportunities for growth?
Well, I think one of the ways that we do that is to concentrate a lot of our energy on our downtown. The downtown is the focal point of the community. It's a historic downtown. It's small. We try to have a lot of events downtown. And so people come downtown and they meet their neighbors and they have a good time. And I think that that's one of the big things that keep that small town charm going. Does anybody else have a different idea?
I completely agree with Mayor Jones 100%. Some of the other things that I think help lend themselves to that, I think the downtown and the events, where you come down and you see your neighbors and you meet new people, I think that's crucial. But also all of the cultural things that we do and the classes that we offer and the Parks and Rec stuff, as people go out and they join these, quality of life programs, they're meeting neighbors as well. And so they learn to meet other people in the community, and that just helps build that sense of community. There's so much going on that our residents can't help but get involved in things. And that's how they meet each other. And that just, again, strengthens that sense of community.
Yeah, I'd agree with that also. And I'd add, we try to remember where we have come from, right? So we have pretty strong historic preservation guidelines in the town. We try to incorporate the Wake Forest stone as much as possible to really draw in that new development and tie it in with the old. I think that helps kind of build that community as well. And I echo what Lisa and Mayor Jones said as well.
I want to add one more thing too. As they were talking about the community plan update, and Allison was talking about that, and she talked about we had over 150 people sign up for 3 different webinars about the plan, encouraging our community to tell us what they think and to communicate with us, and then we communicate back with them. We have a fantastic communications department, and I think that interaction with our citizens through those communication media really helps to bring the community together.
Great. So we do have one last question. Melanie Osborne actually dropped this in the chat. So thank you, Melanie, for being on here today and being one of our facilitators with us. She is interested in knowing whether the developers that are being asked to help with the roads also include housing developers. And does this help keep housing affordable for the residents of Wake Forest? And is there anyone in the town that is, their sole, I guess, job is to work on housing affordability?
We're concerned about it. When at our meeting last week, we approved hiring a consultant to develop an affordable housing plan for our community. We're very concerned about that because we realize that housing has just skyrocketed, and affordable is not $350,000 to a lot of people. And so we want to do something about it. We're partnering with a local builder to build some more affordable homes in our northeast area. We had some property that we owned that we asked a builder to build on, and we provided the land for a couple of little houses. So, we are trying to do some things, but we feel like that this affordable housing plan will put us in the right direction so that we can really make some inroads into that.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. I know that it's awesome when you help them take the pressure off of the roads, obviously, but then with lumber and everything skyrocketing right now, the developers have to increase their price.
Exactly.
So obviously, and I do know that the roads cost a lot, but then it's like everything adds up and then it goes on to the homeowner, thus now making it where they cannot afford to buy a home. So I was just wondering if someone had that on the radar, so I appreciate you guys do. So thank you.
So that is about all the time we have for today. I want to thank you all again for joining us for the second installment in our new community series. We really enjoyed hearing from Wake Forest. I think Liz can attest. I've been up to visit her in Wake Forest a couple of times to work on chamber stuff, and I love the downtown. So if any of our attendees have unfortunately not been to Wake Forest, please make your way up there. They're not doing this town justice, although they've done a great job of selling it to us this morning. But if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to Jordan or myself, and we will be happy to pass that along to our town reps here today. And like I mentioned previously, we will be sending out all of the information that they shared today, along with the link to the full recording of this webinar. And we hope you have a great day, and thank you again for joining us.